From the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, welcome to Iowa Live. I am Lou, and it is time to be joined by a friend of ours who, she and I have been married and divorced at least, what, a dozen times?
Oh, at least.
Kim,
at
over
least.
the years. Yeah, and we're going to be married and divorced here in just a couple of seconds. Again, attorney Kim Baer from the Baer Law Office joining us, and you can probably guess what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, we're going to talk about divorces.
Mm-hmm. But see, the times we got divorced, it wasn't my fault.
Oh, I see how.
And it wasn't your fault. It was nobody's fault.
Now I know why we're getting divorced.
But that's what we're talking about first and foremost, because that's the state that we live in, the state of Iowa.
Yes.
What, no-fault divorce?
Yes, no-fault divorce, and then it's equitable division of property. And so a lot of times people don't understand what that means. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that today.
Okay, what is the equitable division rule?
So typically it would be 50-50, but not necessarily. I mean, so the court just looks at the what you have, that's marital property, and divides that. And so marital property typically, not always, but typically is what you've acquired since the day you got married to the day that you're getting divorced.
Okay.
So the exception to that rule is if you and I have been married for quite a while, 15, 20, 25 years, something like that, the court has the ability, because it's an equitable hearing, the court has the ability to divide up what I had before the marriage or what you had before the marriage.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So a good example might be a 401k or home equity or something like that. So if the court says you guys have been married so long that I'm really not going to draw a line in the sand. So people just need to be aware of that. That's something that usually shocks people.
So yeah, so it's not a matter of this is what I owned before I got married. If you have a long-term marriage, it could be everything overall.
Exactly, which is the reason why we usually talk about prenups, but that's a topic for another day.
And we will talk about that, I'm sure, but it's really clear though, you have to divide the assets up.
You have to divide the assets. Now, you can trade, we call it apples for oranges. So here's a good example. Let's say that you really want to keep the house, and I'm fine with that. And so that means you're going to keep most likely all the equity in the house. Then we want to trade that. Maybe I'm going to take the bank accounts. So let's say if you're getting an extra $50,000 that should go to me out of the house. Maybe then I should get $50,000 out of the bank accounts. But one of the things that people don't stop to think about is you need to look at the tax consequences. So bank accounts is money that's already been taxed. Home equity is money that's already been taxed. But 401k money typically has not been taxed unless it's Roth. So what I tell people is we just always want to make sure that we're trading, in that case, apples for apples and oranges for oranges. So for example, if I'm going to keep all my 401k money, you're going to keep all the money in the house. It's not fair to me, because if I don't have Roth money, $100 in my 401k account is probably worth about $80, because when I take it out, I have to pay taxes.
Right. Okay. So you have to keep that in mind with the tax considerations.
Exactly. Because you're keeping $100 in the house that's worth $100.
Right.
So that's just one of the considerations that we have. We want to make sure that we're dividing up things fairly.
And how would that be? How would that go? Say you do have a 401k, you don't have a Roth 401k, and you want to give the person the 401k. Would you have to subsidize it with something else to offset it?
You might have to. And then that's the reason why we're kind of trying to look at the whole picture. And I know at our law firm, what we try to do is we try to divide out for the client. Here's what's already been taxed, and here's what has not been taxed, so that way we're trading things fairly.
A good chart to have.
Exactly. We use one of those every time.
Do you really?
Yes, we really do. Makes it easier.
Is there any? I would say it makes it easier, but are there ever any conflicts when it comes to swapping things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because sometimes there's not enough things to trade. I mean, so sometimes we say, okay, I'm sorry. A good example might be you might have to give me money out of the house. You might have to go get a home equity loan, or you might have to refinance.
So they might have to pay to offset it.
Exactly.
To get it close.
Exactly. And then another question that people often have is they'll come in and they'll say, well, he kept the house in his name the whole marriage. I knew he was going to do this to me because now he gets the house.
Right.
It doesn't matter whose name it's in. It really doesn't. So
remember that too, everybody.
Yes. We just want to, we look at what was accumulated from the date of the marriage until the end of the marriage. And if you had the house beforehand, then during the marriage, marital money is paying it off. Marital money is, paying the property property
So it's all
taxes.
part of it then,
It's
yeah.
all part of it.
And
it's all
where do
part of it.
pensions come into play?
Right. So pensions, our legal advice is typically let's divide a pension up, because a pension, you don't look at the cash value because that's always really low. But a good example is, let's say you have IPERS, and so it's going to give you $2,000 a month when you retire. If that was all earned during the marriage, I'm probably going to be entitled to around half of that.
Okay.
Now, let's say I live to be 90. $1,000 a month is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, but it's hard to value pensions. So because it's so hard and they can be worth a lot, our advice is always, let's just divide the pensions equally.
All right. Now, people have a lot of questions about this. What's the easiest way to get a hold
Yeah,
of
just
you?
give us a call at 515-279-2000. We're happy to sit down and have a cup of coffee.
All right, Kim Baer, great job as always. Thank you so much, and I think maybe we'll get remarried again.
All right.
Someday, okay?
If you're nice.
And if you're nice, which you always are. We'll be right back. This is Iowa Live.